for those online, sorry tengah cakap sini I will off the camera online, so you are going to just listen but I'm going to share the screen Alright, Assalamualaikum, very good morning to all. Thank you lots of, I think more than half came to class. So I'm guessing that after this you're going back to your hometown Okay, so well, reason why I insisted on the face-to-face class is that because the topic that we are going to learn today will be in midterm exam. Okay, and for chapter 2 there are two important topic lah, which is three topic which is important, but the critical one is that the two which is on convolution integral, convolution sum, and the property. Normally I will just give you the PDF and I already uploaded in YouLearn, so you can just go through. But on the convolution is really critical because especially on the one that is going to come up in midterm exam will come up convolution integral. Okay, integral will be on the continuous time system. Okay, so discrete time will not come up in midterm, discrete time will come up in final exam. Okay, so I think most of the time when we last cohort the midterm exam was on discrete time, because compared to discrete time and continuous time, the easiest is the convolution sum lah, which is for discrete time. So kali ni midterm is going to be the difficult part, which is on integration. Okay, so integration, that's why I gave to you pre-read on like revision lah. Sebenarnya you belajar dah integration in SPM dulu. Dah ada belajar? Tak ingat, buka balik ataupun pergi YouTube, pergilah check tutorial SPM ke, tutor SPM matematik ke kan, integration kan, whatever that it takes for you to understand integration. Okay, so that will be used in this convolution integral. Okay, so those online, if you cannot hear me, can you hear me? Those online, boleh Okay, boleh. Alright, so a reminder, for the midterm exam will be on, this is confirm will be at the for 2 BEKM, 3 BEKM, 4 BEKM, and also BEKG for all, means that semualah yang ambil subjek senior system. The exam will be on week 8 on 17 May, Wednesday. Okay, at 8:30 PM. Okay, and it will be at Dewan Kuliah BPA, the one at the tepi tasik over there. So bilik kuliah nanti ayah akan inform lah which bilik kuliah. So for the midterm exam, chapter 1, okay, take note. Okay, chapter 1 will come out on the discrete time. Okay, discrete time system. Okay, so the one that I gave to you in Padlet, okay, there are few example of few past year exam question that I have uploaded in Padlet. Both are on continuous time and discrete time. But please during the long break sebab you ada long break, ada next week dah raya lah of course kan, so tak apalah raya. But the week after, which is on the hari pekerja dengan hari Waisak tu, kelas kita memang tak ada jugalah sebab because of holiday. But I already upload in YouLearn week 6. If you go to week 6, dia dah ada dah. I already activate the lessons. So even though you don't have class, you can just do the task is to do the revision. Okay, revision means that buat revision, upload in Padlet. Okay, so when we come back during on Monday, on I think 8 May, then we will do a really thorough revision on to prepare for midterm. Okay, will be on chapter 1 on discrete time and chapter 2 on continuous time. Okay, so continuous time chapter 2 will be today lesson lah, which is critical. Satu je lesson dah terus kena buat exercise banyak Okay, and I hope I can cover a few example today. So this will be on chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2 will cover four main content. First one will be on the linear time invariant system definition, but this one is already also mentioned in chapter 1, the last part, which is property of signal. Ada dah I mention about linear time invariant, but so I'm going to just recap a bit. Okay, and second one will be normally for chapter 2. I duduk kejap Normally for chapter 2, I jarang teach dulu convolution integral Okay, jarang lah teach. I normally teach convolution sum dulu. Okay, because between convolution sum, which is for discrete time, compare with convolution integral, convolution sum is the easiest. But because convolution integral will come out in the midterm, so I'm going to directly teach convolution integral. So the concept will be similar. Okay, but if you feel that you cannot understand because lesson is only for today 2 hours ni, so I already share to you in the ulearn the ulearn. Okay, go to ulearn. Okay, under recording, you can see that I have shared to you chapter 2 part 1, which is this is recording past year punya So supposedly this one will be the first video lah sebenarnya. We will start with the introduction and also convolution sum. So if you want, you can go through this part first, part 2, then only go to this chapter 1. This one will cover on convolution integral in this part, and the lesson will start at 32 minutes. Okay, so go through. It's the same slide, will be the same example pun sama. Kalau you tak faham hari ni punya, just go through again in the recording. Okay, and lastly will be on property of LTI system. Okay, so the definition of LTI system, linear time invariant system, is that the system is linear, means that whatever input you give, it will give the same output lah. Maksudnya kalau ada shifting by A value, the output will shift by A value. Okay, so and for this case is that we are going to use combination of pulses. So you have learned in chapter 1 pulses tu apa? Pulses is you have a pulse lah. Example, how do you draw a pulse in okay, so in continuous time you draw a pulse like this, right? This is continuous time, and in discrete time you draw the pulse like this. Okay, so this one will be continuous time, this will be in discrete time. Okay, so we are going to use that concept, and by shifting the pulses, okay, you might not understand now, nanti I akan tunjuk example. So by shifting the pulses or the easiest signal, you are going to get the output. Okay, so the linear time invariant system is combination of delayed pulses. So all of it have the shifting of pulses, superposition and time invariant. So based on that, you have two types of convolution: convolution sum and convolution integral. Okay, so I have mentioned, if you remember in previous classes, when we talk about when you have a block diagram like this, okay, you have an input xt and yt. Okay, the inner part is normally a gain in chapter 1. Chapter 1 ingat dia gain. Gain tu apa? Maksudnya a value saja. Okay, value 2, 4, 5 and so on. Okay, but in chapter 2, okay, this gain is not a gain anymore. It's going to be a signal. Example, HT. We call it as a impulse response, HT. Okay, combination of signals inside. So we call it as impulse response, HT. So sometimes it doesn't matter whatever we call it HT ke impulse response. Sometimes we call it as GT. Kalau dalam control kita assign as GT. Okay, ataupun bila kita convert kepada Laplace kita sebut sebagai GS. Right? So don't get confused. Anything inside a block will be the impulse response. Okay? So there will be two types of convolution for this case. So when you have in chapter 1, when you have a gain, it's easy. Gain tu dia jadi what? Dia jadi amplitude scaling. Ingat tak? You belajar amplitude transformation Amplitude transformation is that you multiply the amplitude saja. So kalau dia ada scaling factor by 3 amplitude, so you darab je lah amplitude by 3. Okay? But when you have the convolution in terms of a system, okay, so you cannot multiply it like that only. Okay, kita kena buat convolution. So if you have input is a signal, so you ada signal sine wave contoh. Then output is a square wave signal, continuous square wave signal. So you need to do a convolution. So sometimes kalau dalam midterm, final exam, dia tak mention tau. Dia tak mention. We bukan tak mention lah. We don't actually guide the student. Okay, guide student. Okay, find the convolution of the output. Okay. Okay, we don't say that. We just say find the output YT. So you need to know, are you going to need use convolution ke ataupun you just make a simple amplitude transformation? Okay, boleh faham tak? Boleh faham So amplitude scaling, again I repeat, amplitude scaling is whereby you have a gain factor saja belah depan that signal But when you have the input here is a signal, okay, then it's going to be a convolution. Okay, saya bagi contoh lah, tak tahulah faham apa tak kan. So for example, this one is 3 input xt and then yt. Another one is you have for example gt, or we call it as ht, ht, yt, xt. Okay, let's say this is an input, xt is a signal, same thing, a signal. This is a gain, ht, you have a signal like this. This is ht. Okay, maknanya ada signal lah, dia sama macam kadang-kadang dia cakap ht is the same signal as xt. So same square wave. So for this you need to do a amplitude transformation, whereby you have learned in chapter 1. Okay, but when you have the signal, the block diagram beneath that, the second one, which is HT is a signal. Tak kisahlah square wave ke, rectangular wave ke, okay, triangle wave ke. Okay, triangle wave macam ni lah, triangle wave. Okay, so this one you are going to use chapter 2 convolution. Okay, so which convolution you are going to use? So for the discrete time, you're going to use convolution sum. So dia senang sikit. Convolution sum ni adalah darab je, darab tambah lah. Okay, and for the continuous time, it's a bit advance sikit lah, tough sikit lah sebab student biasalah tak suka kan nak buat integration, deviation semua ni kan. Okay, dia dah pening kepala, tapi jangan risau, dia tak seteruk electromagnetic theory yang ada sampai 3 kali integration. Anak yang BKG tahu pernah belajar kan, yang BKG belajar electromagnetic theory, you know that you're going to do integration 3 kali. Okay, dalam equation 3 kali integration. Okay, so for this subject only satu je integration. So bersyukurlah you ambil BKM Kalau you ambil EMT, you 3 kali integration lah. Budak-budak, aduh, EMT is a killer subject for for electrical program okay. So we are only going to use the integration for this. And why do you think that it's different? One is summation and one is integration. Okay, for discrete time, you know that you have pulses pulses saja, so dia macam darab sajalah. Okay, but when you have integration, okay, you're going to look at this signal xt, and when you move it when you multiply it with ht, okay, by having a time delay, you're going to find, for example, what is the area of the overlapping area over there. So when you want to find the overlapping area under a graph, two graph, satu cara yang paling senang adalah using integration. Okay, that's why I ask you to go through the 5 video. Dalam 5 video tu ada explain about why you actually use integration is to find the area under the graph. Okay, so which is the output lah at that moment okay. Right, so the basic system property for time invariant, you have learned this in the last chapter last week. Okay, for continuous time is that if there is a time shifting, or which is time shift, delay or advance in the input, it will cause the same delay or shifting in the output. Okay, so logic lah. Okay, so same goes to discrete time. So it will have the equation like this. So for the t value, you have if you have an input with shifting, then supposedly y pun ada shifting. Dia sama example macam tsunami. Okay, tsunami is you have a shifting in the waveform. Okay, shifting in the waveform. So output confirm ada shifting lah, which is the combination of multiple waveform. Okay, kalau if we talk about tsunami, okay, tsunami is not only one block diagram macam ni. H1t, yeah, xt, this is yt. Yt, imagine this is the large waveform lah. For tsunami, you have H1, H2, H3, multiple lah, whatever, berapa kali wave yang ada dalam tu. Okay, so you're going to get the large tsunami in the end. So sometimes in the, not sometimes lah, there was a previous batch of final exam, bigger students sampai 3 H ada H1, H2, H3. Okay, so kena tahulah. We don't mention in the question that okay, student need to do convolution. No, we just ask okay, find yt value if you have h1, h2, h3, then with the graph. So find yt value. Wah, ini student dah panik. Bila dia tak mention, bila kita tak mention in the question that you need to do convolution ke, okay, or amplitude transformation, then some student answer wrongly because they calculate amplitude transformation saja, multiply je. Okay, amplitude, habis, salah question tu. Okay, in the final exam. So what you need to do is that you do convolution. So how you do the convolution is that you need to settle H1, H2 first. You get the output. For example, I put here is Y1t. Then Y1t darab dengan H3. You get the final output here. Okay, example lah. So that's the concept of when you have a cascade, a block in cascade mode. Okay, so and then for the concept of linearity is that you have the additive property. So this one also in the last chapter 1 you have learned that when you have the additive property, you can actually you have a gain value, then the output will have a gain value and scaling factor sama juga. Okay, so let's just go directly to example here. Okay, so sorry nota saya ni sebab I said here similar to discrete time cases sebab in original slide is that I teach first the continuous time signal so just jump to directly to this sentence. So system characterization of xt, okay, is whereby when you have the output with impulse responses ht. Okay, so looking back at the block diagram just now, this block, tak ada block okay, this block, okay, you have the input xt or x tau, sama je okay, and then you have HT here is they call it an inbox lah because we are referring to the textbooks okay, so don't get confused with the impulse that you learn in chapter 1. When we talk about impulse signal saja, yang ini impulse response function okay, so when you have this impulse response function HT, so means that it is a signal that have a combination of multiple impulse signal inside okay, and as you know okay, so let's just have an example here, multiple impulse like this okay, so this is 1, 0 until 5 example. So but you know that if this is a discrete time and we are talking about the convolution integral which is in continuous time okay, so continuous time is that the signal will become like this okay, so that's why this is the impulse response is actually defined as the combination of impulse response okay, impulses so observation is here is that any continuous signal can be expressed as superposition of an infinity times shifted continuous signal so this is the definition of the output. So xt is the integration, this is for continuous time, integration of x tau multiplied by delta t minus tau. T minus tau, why? Because you can see that at this position actually this original you have delta t plus delta t minus 1 plus delta t minus 2 plus delta t minus 3 plus delta t minus 4 plus delta t minus 5. Boleh faham? Boleh faham tak? This is one you have learned in chapter 1. Sebab tu bila I suruh you buat exercise week 4 hari tu kena buat. Okay, I assume you have done that, then because it was continue to chapter 2 okay, why? Let's look at what I'm writing delta t is where? This delta t okay, plus because you have another at the point delta is shifted by 1 which is time delay okay, so delta t minus 1 is at this point lah 1. Betul? Tak tahu lah. I'm not seeing anyone nangguk ke dia macam betul? Ini baru start yang ni. Kalau masuk convolution nanti dia bening. Okay. Okay. For the next will be delta t minus 2, which is delta shifted to the right side. So yang second one ni lah. Okay. Second signal ni yang nombor 2 ni. Okay. Next is delta t minus 3 at 3. Oh ni bukan 4 So tak ada lah. Yang ni tak ada. Terlebih pula. Okay. So tak ada. Sampai t minus 4 saja. So that's why the definition is that the HT impulse response is a combination of delta signal inside okay. So how you are going to actually okay, so mana tadi kita? Sini kan? Okay, so xt, definition of xt is you have xt times delta tau. Okay, and for the convolution integral is that you want your objective is to get the output lah. Normally kita tak adalah akan bagi output find h ke x, tak adalah, terlalu complicated lah. Okay, so what we are going to give to student is that the signal x tau xt, and then kita bagi ht, then find yt. Okay, so yt is the convolution at the end lah. Okay, so how you get that convolution is that by using this signal, this equation this equation. Okay, so yt output is equivalent to delta okay x tau atau xt is the input multiplied by h T. Okay. So how are you going to do convolution? It's not going to be same as amplitude transformation. So for the convolution integral, this will be the equation that you're going to use. Okay, remember this, because this one will not be given in final exam or midterm exam. This will be the general equation. So yt equivalent to delta, integration from minus infinity to infinity. Okay, this one, because it's a general equation, so kita letak situ as a general is minus infinity to infinity lah. But later when we look at the example, bila kita ada t value from a certain value, for example from minus 1 until 5, so dia akan jadi from integration from minus 1 to 5 lah. Okay, right now it's going to be a general equation. Okay, from multiply by xt times ht minus tau. Okay, you see that the equation actually changes. So you have here is that ht minus tau. Okay, because of you know that ht is a combination of signal, impulse signal, and the symbolic equation for this is written as this equation, yt equivalent to xt star ht. So kalau you tengok macam tu pun, itu bermaksud terus kena buat convolution lah. Find yt equal to xt star ht, right? So let's look at example. Okay, this example, I'm not going to touch much on the week 5. Okay, week 5, if we see in the Ulen, okay, lesson at the bottom here, I add another video. Okay, if you have time, go and review the video. Kalau this morning you already reviewed, that's good. Okay, so you understand a bit what is convolution. So this is a general concept lah. Kalau lots of video online, it shows only the mathematical how to do convolution integral and summation and sum. Okay, but the concept, how is the concept of convolution? So you can go and look at the video, but I'm going to just summarize based on that video okay, into this concept lah. So you nampak tak? Have you ride a motorbike before? Yeah. Pernah? Motorbike? Tak pernah. Motorbike normally ada suspension system. Kat mana? Depan ke belakang? Ayah depan ke belakang? Depan. Tayar depan ada suspension ke dua-dua lah, mana-mana lah. Tapi motorbike selalunya depan lah, sebab the one that you are with the you punya handle tu Okay, example yang ni nampak tak ni suspension system sini depan ni Okay, belakang selalunya tak ada sebab dia connected dengan you punya gear dengan change drive. Normally tak ada lah. Okay, kalau mungkin you salah tengok lah, tapi selalunya motorbike depan sajalah, sebab dia yang, sebab you know, kalau you naik motorbike ni, selalu orang naik motorbike because why? Dia ada banyak bike Ada bike apa? Ada bike apa? Cepat lah. You muda-muda ni takkan tak tahu bike apa, jenis apa ada. Ada apa? Yang selalu orang pergi riding kat jalan tu, bike apa? Road bike. Road bike beza dengan motorbike. Satu, tayar dia tak besar. Tayar dia macam tayar kereta lah sikit. Dia besar sikit sebab dia nak serap the absorb all the hentakan Okay, because why? Motorbike, people use it go into this besar sangat. We go into go into this type of terrain lah, yang ada banyak gravel semua kan, naik bukit semua. So dia kena serap hentakan lah. And normally motorbike ni dia tak boleh duduk. Gila nak duduk, sakit buntut lah. Orang kena berdiri lah kan. Kalau so motorbike ni dia kena terror lah, terror cycling. You tak boleh duduk duduk kat saddle tu. Nanti buntut you habis lepas sejam je you dah sakit buntut kan. Bocor buntut you. Okay. So road bike memang tak ada suspension depan belakang sebab dia nak stable. That's why people on the road, you tengok dia punya tire tu very thin. Okay, sebab dia nak fast. Motorbike kalau you guna on the road, it will be slow lah sebab berat motorbike. Okay, and then there's another bike. I dulu kat Jepun, I pakai hybrid bike. Hybrid ni dia lebih kurang macam road bike. Just that the difference is that dia tak ada suspension macam motorbike, tapi tayar dia tebal. Okay, so it can go off road lah, sedikit off road. Okay, but you cannot go and ride that hybrid bike masuk hutan lah. Patah frame basikal tu. Patah lah. Sebab apa? Sebab tak ada suspension. You turun bukit, turun top pun, you pun terlantun. Okay, terlantun habis. Okay, suspension system, apa maksudnya? Sama macam ni lah suspension system. Sama je. Dia ada silinder. Okay, ada silinder. Inside the cylinder, you ada spring and damper. Okay, and mass is whatever connected to that cylinder lah. Okay, so imagine that this suspension system is actually your bike here, input tu. Your bike, you tengah riding kan, you lah input tu, input yang you jalan tu. The impulse response is this road, which is have different height, ada tangga. Kadang-kadang you nampak orang naik road bike ni, dia boleh je ride atas tangga. Okay, sebab dia akan serap hentakan kan, because of other suspension system tu. So imagine that when you ride on these impulses with different amplitude kan, tangga tu ada different height semua kan, dia tak rata. So you get the output. Output is what? What you feel lah. You are riding, okay, what you feel when you ride, macam tu. So you want to plot that output. Okay, so the better suspension system, then you might have a smoother ride lah. Kalau suspension system you out, memang output you pun out lah. So what does it mean So basikal ni, when you move, this one is fixed kan, fixed, tak bergerak, you yang bergerak. So basikal tu bergerak, shift, dapatkan output je. So we are going to do that same thing. We are going to in convolution integral and sum is that, okay, xt or ht, between ht and ht, one signal will be fixed. One signal will be fixed and another signal will be shifted. Okay, faham? Okay, the signal that will be shifted, normally saya akan ajar student shift the easiest signal. Okay, easiest signal. Contoh, apa maksud easiest signal? Contohlah, you ada x tau, signal dia macam ni with amplitude 1. Okay, ht, you have signal like this, amplitude 1. Okay, so between xt and ht here, this is xt, this is ht. Which one do you think is a simple signal? Dia depending on your own opinion lah kot kan. You rasa ht, ada orang rasa xt. So it depend on you. But sama saja, kalau you choose that xt is the simple signal, then we are going to do that as a shifting, and ht will be fixed. Okay, if another student feel that, oh, I think that ht is simpler, okay, so you want to shift this ht and you want to fix xt pun boleh, you will get the same answer yt in the end. So bagi tips ni, kalau you buat exercise di rumah nanti, when you do the convolution integral, you can do that two method. One is by shifting xt, fix ht. Dan satu lagi method, you fix xt, shift ht. Kalau you dapat the same jawab answer, then correct lah. Okay, so you tak perlulah nak tunggu kawan you buat. Cepatlah buat. I tak tahu nak confirm jawapan ni ke tak. Tunggu saya bagi revision nanti by 7 Mei, lambat sangat maybe. Okay, so you want to do on your own, you can do additional lah. Try to do that. Okay. Okay, so This will be the steps on how to do convolution integral. Okay, convolution sum nanti. We focus on convolution integral. So for the first step ada 4 step saja. Tapi lepas tu kena repeat lah. For each of the shifting. Okay, what maksud dia apa? Every time you shift, you change the t value, then you're going to do the same method lah. Okay, so impulse response ht is time reverse. Okay, ht become h minus t, then shift by t to form ht minus t. Apa maksud dia ni? Okay, remember that originally the signal was integration xt ht, right? This was the original in the previous slide. So what it means that, okay, first step sebelum nombor 1 ni, choose the simplest signal. Choose the simplest signal between those two signal. Between xt dengan ht, mana satu yang simple? It's your decision to choose. Okay. After that, choosing that, then the first step is that, for example, I choose ht because that will be the simple signal lah. Example in this case. So ht is time reverse. Ini kita kena ingat balik konsep chapter 1. Okay. ht reverse it. Reverse ht maksud dia apa? ht you jadilah h minus t kan. So you flip it lah. Basically flip it. Okay, the ht value flip. And then dia cakap sini time shift by t to form ht, sebab kita nak jadikan dia dalam bentuk macam ni, ht minus tau. Okay, so what you need to do is that h just add tau kita guna tau dalam case ni sebab dia dalam bentuk tau, h t minus tau. Okay, so just add t depan tu lah, depan signal yang tadi tu. Okay, so h minus t jadi h t minus tau. Okay, then after doing that, signal xt and ht minus tau are multiplied together for a value at t value with t fixed at some value. Apa pula ni? Nanti kita buat example. Product of xt minus tau is integrated overall to produce a signal output value. Okay, repeat 1 to 3 as time varies over minus infinity to infinity. Okay, so let's do an example lah untuk faham what does it mean by that. So let's do example. White dot So if you see this example, okay, tu jadi example 3 tiba-tiba sebab the note says start with discrete time yang sebelum ni. So just ignore that numbering. Okay, if you see this one, you are not given any graph kan, tapi dibagi equation lah, dibagi the function. Okay, suppose that xt signal sama dengan ht sama dengan pt. Okay, where pt is given by 1, 0, 1 between 0 to t and for 0 otherwise lah. Okay, so what does it mean? That you kena faham lah, apa benda pula XT-HT ni? So kena refer pada block diagram yang you dah belajar sebelum ni lah. So block diagram yang ni. Okay, so HT sistem dalam ni, XT adalah input. Okay, dia ask the question, ask find the convolution integral YT. So YT ni lah kita nak cari YT output. Okay, and sketch the output for the system, let T equal to 1. Okay, so for this case is that, let's say that this T is equal to 1. So plot for XT and HT. Okay, before that, let me just take the step. Right, so because in this case is that XT and HT is the same value as signal so kita akan use this, the general equation here lah, YT. Okay, we are going to use YT equivalent to minus infinity into infinity X tau, okay, HT minus tau, okay, d tau. Okay, so in this case is that you can see that because between XT and HT in this question is the same, so we are going to fix X tau, and what we are going to shift is HT minus tau. Okay, so by understanding that, okay, what we are going to do first is that to draw the equation, draw the graph. So you start off by plotting XT lah, the fixed signal. So XT adalah apa tadi? From 0 to 1. So 0 to 1, amplitude 1. Okay, so this is X T. Oh, before that saya rasa macam tak habis. Sekejap slide ni ada tunjuk example I lupa. Okay, so you see that this one, okay, what you need to do first is that okay lah, this one if you see here is that in order to compute the convolution integral, we can consider it into 4 cases. Okay, what is the 4 cases? Okay, so what you need to do is that between XT and HT tadi, which one is that we fix? We fix XT, right? Okay, XT. So this signal is actually T jadi 1 lah. Okay, and what we are going to shift is this HT minus tau. So HT minus tau we are going to draw on the left side. Okay, left side. Okay, for case 1 is that we start with both signal is not overlapping. Maksud dia, you tengok this signal is not overlapping with XT. HT is not overlapping with XT. So imagine that tadi lah, example basikal tadi kan, you naik basikal. Okay, sebelum you sampai steps tadi, you don't see that signal kan. So bila you there's no overlapping lah. But once you reach that step, then you dengan your suspension system with the steps tadi akan overlap, dia bergerak sampai not overlapping anymore. Okay, so we start with the non-overlapping area. This is case number 1. Okay, next is that we start to overlap it. So imagine that the blue signal ni tadi, you punya basikal tadi kan, dia bergerak, dia pun naik steps tadi. Okay, so you start to see that there are area which is overlapping and there are area is not overlapping. Okay, so this is case number 2. Okay, and then case number 3 is that you move it some more, then you see that it start to overlap over here and this is start to not overlapping anymore. Okay, this is case number 3. And case number 4 is that when you don't see any more overlapping. So bila dah tak ada overlapping, you stop lah doing that shifting, okay, right? So by understanding by understanding that concept, you're going to do in terms of the drawing lah. Tadi tu just concept saja. So start with drawing XT dulu, XT, okay, and you know that just now originally, okay, we have apa tadi? HT is PT equal to XT juga kan? So if I draw on top here lah, I draw here. This one is HT, okay, 0, 1. We want to start off with H minus T tadi kan? The first step is we reverse it first, okay? So reverse it first, meaning that we flip this signal, okay, flip it. So I draw it like this, flip it. So this becomes 0, this become minus 1. Okay, we draw it on the left side, okay. So let me just and then, okay, so this one become here is H minus tau, okay, and we are still not finished yet. We want to get it in terms of H T minus tau, okay. So how do you get H T minus tau tadi? Okay, padam sikit ini. Minus tau, T minus tau is by adding T in front lah, tu saja. Tambah je kat depan dia T minus tau, okay. So this become T minus 0, T minus 1, okay. Boleh faham? That will be the step lah, okay. Okay, directly underneath this graph, okay, you are going to draw a table, This is T value. Sorry, T value over here. Tak payah panjang sangat sebab you ada dua saja. So T value. Okay, so draw a table underneath directly in parallel. Jangan pergi draw table ni belah sini. Okay, there's a reason why I ask you to draw underneath here, Okay, so if you look at the example just now, okay, what you did, you draw was this drawing, You draw XT, you draw HT minus tau. Ini yang you draw tadi. Cumanya T value tadi you dah gantikan terus. Ada T value, ada value tadi. Okay, so we start with no overlapping. Case number 1. Okay, so what is the non overlapping area for this case? Okay, so we start. So find the non-overlapping area lah first, So at T equal to what? What do you think is the non-overlapping area? Okay, so if you look at this, okay, if you move this HT minus tau, okay, to the right, okay, you move it, you imagine yourself lah kan, you shift until which point that is still not overlapping. At point, this point kan, is still not overlapping. So at this point is that you have T equal to 0. Betul? So T equal to 0, just prove it that is no overlapping. Okay, so 0 minus 0, so 0 minus 0, 0, 0 minus 1, minus 1. Okay, so we start with T equal to 0. Okay, maksudnya if I draw it on the right side here, you have the this one is the x tau. Okay, you punya h t minus tau will be minus 0 to 0. Tak ada overlapping, tak ada okay, so this will be the correct answer lah, t equal to 0. So based on that, we find what is yt. So yt equivalent to integration of, tak ada lah kan, 0, so you get 0, tak ada area. Okay, now we start to move it. So we start to move it by t equal to 1 lah. Okay, t equal 1, t substitute t, 1 minus 0, 1, 1 minus 1, 0. That's why I draw the table directly underneath So you tengok yang ni lah, means that this one to refer to this value Okay, so if I draw it out, it will become like this lah. This is 0, 1. This is x tau. Your ht refer to what you have calculate here is from 0 to 1. Okay, 0 to 1, so dia overlapping kat sini lah. Okay, overlapping the whole area Okay, so at t equal to 1, t equal to 1, okay, yt equal to integration of 0 to 1. Sebab apa? Tak, kita tengok video kan, video integration tu adalah to find the area under the graph. So area of the overlapping two signal overlapping So it will be this area lah, 0 to 1. So 0 to 1, refer back to the original equation here. Okay, is x tau h t minus tau t tau. Okay, so gantikan saja. X tau is what? The amplitude lah, the amplitude. So or a graph lah. For this case is that because it's a constant value kan, so amplitude is 1, so you gantikan 1. Okay, and for ht minus tau pun 1, so 1 times 1 lah, d tau. Okay, what is the integration of a constant? You get the constant value lah. Okay, so betul. So let okay, you need to memorize only this 3 integration sebab normally we don't give you up until cosine wave ke sine wave we give you a constant value ataupun a variable, okay, or a signal lah ataupun square root lah. So for example, for a constant value, integration a dx, you dapat a okay. For a variable, x dx x squared over 2. In the video dia dah bagi kan how you actually get this. Okay, so for example, if it's x squared, what do you get? You get x 3 over 3 okay. So go and refer back to the video that I share. And then lastly is the loan, but loan we don't learn so this only these 3 lah normally okay. So we go back to this one. Based on this one is that you see that yours is a constant value okay. A ni adalah value lah, A ni value lah, 1 ke 2 ke 3 ke 10 ke is a value. So yours is 0, 0 to 1, 1 di tau. So you dapat 1. Betul? Betul? Okay. So next is, since this one is overlapping, you're not finished yet. Okay. So next is we check until, if you look at this, you need to shift it until it's not overlapping anymore. So last step will be until it's not overlapping. Okay. So t equal to 2, 2 minus 0, 2, 2 minus 1, 1. Okay. So plot this. So you get t equal to 2. Just to confirm, I draw it out again. 0, 1. Okay, 1. And then okay, so it's not overlapping. This one is h t minus tau. This one is x tau. Okay, so we can directly write it out. Y t equal to 0. Another way to write this equation is that, if you don't want to get confused, is that you can write here y0. Y0 is equal to 0. This is y1. This is y2 equal to 0. Okay. So, and based on that, okay, you need to plot what is yt. Yt dah senang lah how to plot it. So how to plot yt is that, okay, we plot it underneath here, t. So what value do you have just now? You have the value at this one. T equal to 0 is 0. T equal to 1 you have 1. T equal to 2 you have 0. So plot that. T equal to 0, 1, 2. T equal to 0 is 0. T equal to 1 is 1. T equal to 2 is 0. Of course, if you want to test again, you can do it until lah t equal to 3. It will still get 0 lah sebab non-overlapping kan. So nak buat boleh 3 equal to 0 So draw it out. So this is signal yt. Okay. Okay, remember in the ni tak tepat lah kalau you guna pembaris jangan draw macam saya ni. Dia sepatutnya at 0. If you look back at the equation just now, dia cakap tadi ada 3 cases 3 cases. So betul lah tadi kita shift by 3 cases. Okay. And from this equation, in most convolution question, okay, they will ask you to summarize the output in terms of a function. So dapatkan yt equivalent to what value. Okay, so let's say that we are going to split this into 4 cases just now lah. Okay, case number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are going to try to write back in terms of the question just now. Question dia macam ni kan tadi? Input kan? For y between 0 to 1 and the rest is 0. So we are going to write it in terms of that for the output juga. Okay. Go out. Okay, so we get in the first case, this one number 1, we will get 0 for t less than 0. Senang lah. Next, between 0 to t, 0 to 1. So we have 0, t, 1. Betul? Cumanya equation ni mungkin susah sikit. Tak ada susah, kita biarkan kosong dulu Okay, we just list out first. Okay, next is between 1 to 2, 1 to 2. And next, this one also we leave it empty because we know that there's a slope here. This will be positive and minus, negative. And next one will be between 2 to 3 sorry, more than 2 t more than 2. Okay, this one will be 0. Okay, so how do you get this? Very easy. For this, you know directly, oh, there's RAM over there kan. You dah belajar dalam chapter 1. Bila dah ada macam tu, RAM lah, RAM. Okay, ada slope macam tu adalah RAM. So, one way to use the equation y mx plus c lah. Okay. So, how do you get m? M is that you can either plot right here the coordinate. So this is 0 0, this one is 1 1, and this one is 2 0. Okay, so you may find the slope m1 here, and this one you can find slope m2 by using the normal calculation lah. So m value So let's say that you want to find what is the y here. Okay, so let's say at this point okay, y 1 minus 0 1 equal to, we want to find what is x. 1 minus 0, we get 1, plus dengan c is cross sectional so this is m1 so m you get 1 lah, which is, this is equivalent to t. Okay, so this will get t. Faham? Kenapa dapat satu y ni? Y ni at this coordinate lah. Y this 1 minus 0 okay, equal to m1 x 1 minus 0. Okay, for another slope, at slope number 2, this is number 2. Another one is number 3 here. Case number 3 is that you have y mx plus c. Y you have, what is the y value? 0 kan? 0 minus 1 m2. X here adalah 2 minus 1 1 plus c. Okay, but c you can estimate c is 2 so c is 2, so you get m2 is minus 1. Okay, so for this equation is that if you substitute y again, so you get minus t plus 2, so this one will be minus t plus 2. Yang ni y mx plus c. Okay, for number 3 here. Any question? Okay, right, so this will be the final equation here. Now let's go to another example. Let's do this convolution integral. Same thing. Okay, so you're given, but xt and ht is not the same signal So xt they will be given by 0 1 and 1 between 0 to 1. Okay, draw it. Okay, do the first step, draw that signal, and then ht, draw that signal in terms of in cascade just now. Okay, while you draw that, we take a break boleh 5 minutes, then we come back. Okay, 5 minutes actually convolution integral, the concept is done already. Now we are going to do exercise lah untuk banyak different signal slide ni. Okay, 5 minutes, so we come back at 10:20 While we wait, you can start to do the plotting first for the exercise.
Yang ni kan, yang 2 ni dapat daripada sini.
2 tu cross sectional kan, y equal to mx plus c. Cross sectional tu apa? Cross section at minus at the y axis kan. Y axis tu itu x, y kat atas ni. Tak, you imagine yang ni kan, signal ni you tarik sampai y.
Oh.
Ni 1, 2 lah. Yang ambil je lah 2 tu masukkan. Yang mana?
Pas settlekan dia akan dapat negatif 3.
Nombor 3.
Bagian plus 2 kan, so ini negatif 1. So settlekan dapat minus 3.
0 minus 1, 2 minus 1 minus m minus 1. Sebenarnya you tak payah pun nak congak. You dah tahu M tu takkan jadi 3. Dia M ni slope dia minus 1 kan? Minus 1. Minus 1. Cuba kau lihat balik. Saya salah kira balik. You calculate balik. Balik for y ni online dengar ke? Okay, for y, okay, you want to get normally for how to get y, this one is y1 minus y2 kan, so you want to get this one will be the starting point lah. So for example, this is y1, y2, okay, and then this is y3, so y1 minus y2 lah. So you get 0 minus 1 macam ni lah tadi sebenarnya, and then you get 0 minus 1 juga. So you get m nanti positif lah, minus 1 divide by minus 1 kan. Saya tak kira tadi sebab saya congak je. You nampak dia slope dia 1 kan, x1, y1, 1 lah. Okay, bila kita balik minus lah macam tu. Tapi you will find that when you have a different slope, you have a slope like this, 0, 3 and the amplitude 1. Yang ni you kena kira sebab mungkin you akan salah kira lah. So you need to have y1 minus y2 over here, and then divide by x1 minus x2 lah untuk dapatkan dia punya m value. Okay, so this is how you calculate it. Okay, so you ni akan you dapat y m equal to 1. So second one is that you get y2 minus y3 lah. Okay, y2 minus y3, 1 divide by subtract by 0 equivalent to m x 1 minus 2 kan. Okay, so you get M2 equal to minus 1. Paling senang you tahu sebenarnya Y equal to MX plus C, assuming that C is 0. Okay, so Y equal to Y per X lah. So apa you nak cari adalah ini sebenarnya Y1 minus Y2 divide by XY minus Y2. So you dapatlah M value. Okay, for the case of lagi satu tu, Y2 divide by Y3 minus X2 divide by X3. Okay, so this is for the second case, this is for third case. Okay, for the slope, bila kita nak cari slope, kita selalu assume C tu 0 dululah. Lepas tu dah gantikan, baru kita masukkan dapatkan C value. Sebab kalau case macam ni, C value senang sebab dia pendek saja. Kalau kata C dia atas lagi 10 kan, takkan you nak lukis, jauh sangat. Okay, ada lagi soalan? Yang ni buat yang ni lah. Okay, dah 10.20 Alright, so we continue. Online boleh dengar boleh? Tak share screen tadi. Hari tu saya pernah saya cakap dekat 10 minit online. Saya tak tengok pun dalam Telegram kan. Saya cakap tak dengar. 10 minit saya bercakap seorang-seorang. Dia tak bagi buka video kamera ke apa kan. Kita tak dengar. Do something lah kan. Dah saya kena ulang balik 10 minit. Saya tak suka lah buat online. Dia macam cakap dengan batu kan. Batu tu tak responsif kan. Okay, so online dengar kalau dengar thumbs up lah, nanti dia akan keluar I think I'm sharing the screen. So right now, kalau you tengok dalam slide, okay, raise the hand. You nak tanya soalan ke? Okay, tak apalah, salah kot, tekan. Okay, so we have exercise 3, 4, 5 So I don't think we have time to do all of it. Okay, but in the video recording ada semua ni Cuma I akan pick one that is important lah. Okay, so if you see exercise 3, it's about the same. So let's just I draw it out saja, and then you go back home and do the convolution. So you know that first step is that you want to determine which signal is the simplest. Okay, so kita draw je lah kat tepi ni. Okay, so from 0 to 1, okay, the amplitude is 1, the rest is 0. So this one is xt. Okay, another signal is between 0 to 2. Okay, the amplitude is 1. Okay, so between this signal ht, which one is more simple? X ke H? X lah. Dia punya time pendek, lepas tu same amplitude kan, X. Okay, from there we start to draw the graph lah. Okay, fix first the one that you are not going to move. Fix dulu. So draw out 0, 1. Okay, amplitude 1. This one is xt. Okay, now we are going to draw ht minus tau. So ht minus tau. So first step is that to actually jadikan dia minus tau. H minus tau. So you're going to flip it. Okay, 0, 1, 2. Jangan lupa negatif dia. Okay, then we going to add t in front. T minus tau. So just add that in front. So you dapat t minus tau. Kalau nak tak nak confuse, just buat dalam kurungan je lah, t minus tau. Okay, of course ni sebenarnya t minus 0 lah, tapi sebab 0 kan, so kita letak situ t minus ni ada juga t minus 0, jadi t sajalah. Tapi for the sake of explaining class, so I write it t minus 0. Okay, so draw out the graph. The graph 1, amplitude 1. Okay, so from here, apa next step dia? Kita buat table. Okay, jangan lupa table. So ada berapa value tadi? 3 kan? And then you ada t kat atas ni, the one that you are going to find. Start with the non-overlapping kan? So first is find the non-overlapping, overlapping area. Okay, so at t equal to what? T equal to 0 lah. Z equals to 0. So ni akan jadi 0 minus 0, 0. 0 minus 1, minus 1. 0 minus 2, minus 2. Okay, so maksudnya dia akan jadi kat sini lah. Kan, bila you plot balik di signal, ni 0. Sorry, kat sini Okay, dia akan jadi macam ni. Minus 2, minus 1. Okay, so you start to do that. T at 0, then find yt. You use the equation. Okay, ni kosong lah kan. Kenapa nak buat? Sorry. Okay, so then you continue t equal to 1. Okay, 1. So 1 minus 0, 1, 1 minus 1, 0, 1 minus 2, minus 1. Okay, so remember, for the sake of you don't get confused on which part to integrate, so I would suggest that you can draw at the side like this, just for the sake of to show that there's no overlapping. Minus 2, 0, 1. Yang ni minus 1, 0. Okay, another signal is at minus 1, macam ni kan. So overlapping dia adalah between 0 to 1 sahaja. Okay, so here is that your value is yt equivalent to 0 to 1. What is the amplitude? Kebetulan for this case is the amplitude dua-dua satu kan. So 1 minus 1, d tau. So you get 1, 1. Okay? So you continue up until you get not overlapping area anymore. Okay? So you continue lah. I tak tulis. Yang ni buat kat rumah. Sebab I nak go through multiple signal sekarang ni. Takut nanti tak sempat sebab nanti dalam exercise tu ada a few yang ada multiple signals. Okay, so let's go to the second exercise here, exercise 4 ni. So first step, draw out dululah. Kita nak pilih the easiest signal just now So you draw out, okay, assuming that t equal to 1 here. So dia cakap t equal to 1, so this is 1, this is 1, 1, 1. Okay, so from 0 to 2 is 1. Okay, another signal is ni ada beberapa amplitude dalam signal So from 0 to 1 is 2. Another signal is that between 1 to 2 is 3. Okay, last one is 0 for the rest of the signal. Yang ini you akan nampak signal mana yang senang lah. Yang paling senang adalah xt untuk case ni. Okay, kalau tadi tu macam satu tu t equal to 1, another one is t equal to 2, so dia lebih kurang sama. So you boleh lah nak pilih which one to actually shift. But for this case like this, easier for you to shift is the one that the simple signal lah. Okay, so same case, draw out. Ada kelas ke lepas ni? Physical ke online? Pukul 10? Pukul 11, okay. Okay, tak apa, I buat yang ni saja, I draw dia je. Okay, so now we are going to fix, this is HT we are going to fix the complex signal so we fix the complex signal which is HT lah. So 0, 1, 2. Okay, so this one will be 2, 3. Okay, jangan lupa untuk ini, make sure you write directly the amplitude kat situ juga, right? Okay, takut lupa nanti susah nak buat convolution Okay, now we are going to flip x so this one will be HT. We are going to flip x t minus tau. Sama je konsep dia, cuma sekarang ni kita flip x lah. Okay, so we flip x, so ni flip, we dapat 0, minus 1, minus 2. Okay, so you get bukan, aduh apa sorry apa tadi? 1 kan? Okay, if you see here my graph amplitude dia tak synchronize lah basically so make sure that's why you need to write here the amplitude directly kat tepi 2, 3, ni 1. Okay, kalau kau tak nak letak 1 kat situ jugalah supaya you tak salah yang kedua 1 so then you already you reverse it, you make it become h minus tau kan. Next is h, bukan ni, salah lagi, you flip apa tadi? X kan, X. Okay, you dapatkan minus tau, then X t minus tau. Okay, so at t minus 0, t minus 1, t minus 2. Dan macam biasalah, next step adalah lukiskan table bawah dia, exactly bawah dia table. This is t value. Okay, what is the value that is not overlapping? T equal to 0. Betul? Okay, t equal to 0. So this one is 0, minus 1, minus 2. So you start balik lah. Buat the same thing. Repeat balik. Start with non-overlapping at t value dapatkan y and then dapatkan semua y until it start to non-overlapping again, then plot y value and get the function yt. Okay. Are there anyone who don't understand? Okay. Now we go to a bit difficult question. Okay, yang ni I nak tunjukkan. Sebab yang ni kemungkinan masuklah dalam contoh-contoh dalam final atau midterm macam ni lah. Dia bukannya sesimpel square tadi Dia akan ada RAM lah dalam you punya question tu. Okay. So in this question is that we directly give you the signal signal. So bagi xt and then GT. Dalam kes ni dia sebut GT ni HT lah. Okay. So GT tu macam dalam control dia sebut sebagai GS. Okay. The impulse response. Okay. So XT is the input. So find the convolution integral YT and scratch the output for the system. Okay. So what's the first step again? Find the easiest signal. So which one is the easiest? XT ke GT? XT. So XT is the one that we are going to shift lah. So yang ini XT, so we are going to write it as X T minus tau. So if you were to write, okay, forgot to mention here, okay, in the first equation here, this one, this equation, the first one, okay, if I were to write the full equation, the one that you fix is xt, so minus infinity x tau h t minus tau kan, because the one that you shift is h minus tau. For the second exercise, okay, the equation for yt is minus infinity. The one that you fix is ht, ht. Okay, so dia terbalik, ht yang depan. Ht, h tau, sorry, x t minus tau. Okay, jangan salah yang tu. Okay, d tau. Okay. So for the case of this one, you're going to use, this is gt fix, so y t equivalent to minus infinity infinity. Okay, the one that you fix will be in the front equation, so it's g tau x t minus tau d tau. Kalau you tengok bosannya repeat ni lah, tapi student tak score juga. Macam pelik lah juga kan, kenapa dah tak score kan, benda yang sama duk repeat tak score. So tak apa, kali ni tak score juga, saya tak tahulah kan. Okay, bosan buat benda ni, repeat benda yang sama tak habis-habis. Okay, sepatutnya dah by the time midterm tu tengok je soalan dah tahu buat apa. Okay, tak boleh confuse dah tahu. Okay, so now what we going to do is that, okay, we are going to draw the equation. Okay, t, the one that we have fixed is gt 0 3, this equation kan, so 1. Okay, and you know that in the equation, this equation, okay, when you do a differential, when you integrate, you need to know what is the signal here represent. Okay, so you kena dapatkan dalam bentuk y equal to mx plus c lah. Okay, because remember just now in the one that I show to you, kejap, yang mana tadi yang ni, okay, yang ini tadi. So remember that in the definition of integration kita ada constant tadi. So the one that we have done so far is constant value sajalah, senang je, constant. Okay, but for this case is that we are going to see that there's a variable x, which is t tadi lah. X dalam case ni adalah t. Okay, so we are going to be integrated. So for the case of this, we need to find what is the slope and what is the cross sectional. Okay, so for this case, apa dia punya equation? M dia apa? Y per x kan? Y dia apa? Tiga. Y dia apa? Minus 1 divide by minus this one coordinate is 3 kan? 3 1. This one is 0 0. Betul tak? 0 minus 1 0 minus 3. Betul? So you dapat 1 over 3. So the equation for this is 1 over 3t. That will be the equation for this. Okay, so when you see a ramp, then find first what is the slope for each of that. Then you start to do the xt minus tau. Okay, so xt minus tau, flip it. You flip signal ni sama je. Okay, so you akan dapat 1 0 minus 1, and then you need to add the t in front kan. So dia jadi t plus 1, t minus 0, t minus 1. Oh ya Allah, sorry, saya lukis balik. This is 1 0 minus 1 minus 1 So because you want to add t minus plus 1 kan, minus 1 kan, so you akan dapat t plus 1, t minus 0, t minus 1. Okay, so this one will be the graph 1. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing. Lukiskan t. What is the overlapping, non-overlapping area for this case? Ni dia lain sikit sebab you see that this is t plus 1. So what is the non-overlapping area? Minus 1 dia bukan 0 lagi. Cubalah kita buat contoh lah. Okay, minus 1. Tadi ada student jawab minus 1. Kita start lah minus 1. So minus 1 plus 1 0. Minus 1 minus 0 minus 1. Silap. Minus 2. Betul tak ni? 0 kan? Minus 1 minus 2. Okay, benda simple pun dah jadi susah, leceh. Okay, so when you have here, you start off, you can see that this signal is non-overlapping lah kat sini. Okay, so that's why we'll start with t equal to minus 1 for non-overlap. Okay, so let's do that. So y minus 1 integration but it's 0. Okay, 0 lah, sorry, 0. Okay, next we do at t equal to 0. T equal to 0 is 1 0 minus 1. Okay, so at 1 equal to 0 you have a value. So what's the value of the overlapping of the integration is that we need to draw out lah for the sake of to find out what is the overlapping area. So this is 0 to 3. So you have the plotting 1 0 minus 1. So 1 is here, 0 minus 1. Macam ni lebih kurang. Okay, dia punya plot. Okay, so the overlapping area is kecil ni je. Okay, because for integration is that we want to find the area of overlapping. Okay, so meaning that Okay, you have 0 to 1 lah. Bukannya okay, 0 to 3 tak, 0 to 1. And just now what did you fix is GT G tau X T minus tau D tau. Okay, 0, 1. What is G tau value? G tau tadi kita dah dapatkan equation dia kan, 1 over 3 T. So 1 over 3. Alamak. Hai. Sekejap. Sekejap. Masa ni lah dia nak jadi crazy. Okay. Kenapa? Sorry. 1/3 T kan, darab X T minus tau is 1. Okay, 1. Okay, D tau. Okay, you know that for integration, this constant can take out to the front Okay, 1 over 3. Kenapa tahu take out front? Saya dah suruh you tengok video tak tahu lagi memang kan, sebab tak tengok video kan. So 1 over 3, 0 to 1 T T tau. Okay, what do you get if you integrate T? So which is this one dapat T squared over 2. Okay, so you dapat 1 over 3 T squared 1 2. So you dapat apa? Calculate cepat. Dapat apa? Gantikan, dapat apa? 1 over 3 1 minus 0 kan? 1 over 3. Betul? Oh, T squared. Baru je cakap tadi sendiri salah tulis. Apa tadi? T squared over 2. T squared over 2 1 0 So 1 over 3 1 betul, 1 over 2 divide by 0 lah kan. So you dapat 1 over 6. So y0 is 1 over 6. Okay, so tak ada masa. So do that until it start to non-overlap again. Okay, then you will get the last equation. So I will estimate you will get until t equal to 4 ni. So means that y4 you will get 0 lah. Start to not overlap. You try that and then plot yt. In the end, after you get all the value, plot yt and get the equation. Okay, so based on that, okay, I already upload in Padlet to answer this question. SLT ni student learning time lah, you take home. So you have like 2 weeks lah to do this. Okay, so you are given this one. Ni lebih kurang macam sama juga, cumanya you ada the equation saja. You need to plot the graph. Okay, this one a bit complicated sikit. Okay, so you have RT and this they give you an equation. This equation is based on chapter 1 lah. Kena draw that out. Okay, and the convolution is that you darabkan RT darab RT lah. Maksudnya input pun sama, equal to RT, HT pun RT juga. Okay, and then this one is another equation, another example, and lastly is this one. Okay, so if you do all this, insyaAllah midterm boleh dapat full mark lah. Kalau tak salah kan. Integration macam salah macam saya buat tadi kan, dah cakap t squared over 2, dia buat t squared juga kan. So jangan buat silly mistake macam tu lah. Kalau boleh double check balik. Okay, so I think based on that you can go, remember in feedback form, I sebenarnya ask student to do feedback form, especially if you don't understand, kena jawab feedback form supaya I tahu you ada you tak faham Okay, so for week 6, okay, what you need to do for the 2 weeks up until before we meet again is that attendance make sure that on Monday and Thursday still attendance. Alah, pergi masuk kejap je attendance kan. Okay, lepas tu it is a synchronized self revision via Padlet. Okay, tak ada online tak ada online, just synchronize, buat sendiri based on Padlet tadi. Dalam Padlet I dah upload the task. Okay, so and then here is that the question will be discussed in class only when more than 80% student or group answer the task given. So kalau 12 group answer, baru I start to discuss, or 38 student lah if it's individual. Reason why I tak nak lah seorang dua hantar atau satu dua group hantar and then I start buat revision because this is for student juga. Okay, because you are going to go for midterm later on. So if you don't do it, then bila lagi you nak buat Okay, for week 6 the feedback is more on the midterm preparation for midterm. So for midterm I have done the following to ensure good grades. Jawab lah truthfully So I have revised slide 1 and 2. I visit the recording video yang I upload tu. I have done all the exercise, past year and tutorial. You take lah mana yang you buat. Jangan tipu. Saya takkan bagi apa-apa markah pun kalau you tipu I have made my own notes and summarize it into my map. Suka hati lah kan. Kalau buat semua, insyaAllah dapat full mark lah. Okay, based on your midterm, that sample that you have answered, so what are you confident tak nak dapat full? You jawab lah situ. Boleh dapat lebih kot, ataupun saya rasa half mark pun tak sampai. Okay, so kena put effort lah. Okay, I hope that tak adalah orang jawab less than 50% ni. Okay, maksudnya dia memang tak buat apa-apa ni. Okay, sebab naik aja 1 minggu je lagi dah midterm exam Okay, and jawablah midterm exam tu berapa bulan. Jangan salah tarikh Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For those online, thank you very much Bye.